Set them on silent mode or switch them to the off position. Thank you.
There's the Tomb of the Unknown. That's where the event, the wreath-laying ceremony, will take place. We'll have the national anthem, touching of the wreath, four muffled ruffles, as they call it, taps, and a moment of silence. It's a very, very important event, you know, John, and we know how emotional the new president gets at these kinds of events. We saw yesterday tears coming down his cheek as he was speaking about his late son. As he was saying goodbye to his state of Delaware, getting ready to come here to Washington. But let's listen in. awaiting President Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, and the entire entourage, the entire motorcade to arrive at Arlington National Cemetery in Virginia, across the Potomac River from Washington. They're at the Arlington Cemetery for this wreath-laying ceremony, the Tomb of the Unknown. Brianna Keeler is with us. Brianna, you've done a lot of work, a lot of reporting on the role of the military and President Biden, and it is so special. Tell us a little bit about this.
It is so special, and I think we see the military factoring in today in such a large way, as it always does in the inauguration of a president. And this is a hallmark of the American system, the civilian control of the military, a military that does not belong to one political party. And this is something that we have seen challenged here in the United States here in recent years. So this is part of what President Biden is going to be tasked with, trying to, I guess, help the military in a way regain the trust of the broad American public, which increasingly had sort of seen it co-opted at times, Wolf, as a political prop. I'm speaking to you from Lafayette Park, watching this moment here in Arlington Cemetery, in a place where the military was perhaps most visibly used as a prop. And so this is very important that President Biden is going to tackle this issue. And I also think that we can't overstate the significance of what it will mean not only to have President Biden in the White House, but Jill Biden as First Lady as well, Wolf. I think we've seen this politicization of the military. We're going to see more of a shift towards a focus on military welfare, on the welfare of military families. Of course, the First Lady has renewed her initiative, joining forces that she championed when she was Second Lady. And this is going to focus very much on military families. There's going to be a focus in this White House on veterans. And we also have to understand that in the Oval Office, President Biden, he's also a father of someone. He lost a son, of course, and he has spoken about this, that he believes the reason Beau Biden died at 46 of brain cancer was because of something that plagues many veterans, Wolf, and that is toxic exposure to burn pits. He was exposed to them at Balad Air Base in Iraq during his combat deployment. And this is something that is really confronting right now the military community, the military family community, the veteran community. And now there is someone sitting in the Oval Office who is very aware of these problems and the ramifications of service, Wolf.
And he ends, as you know, Brianna, he ends every speech with the words, "God bless the troops." It is so close to his heart, and we'll watch this unfold at this wreath-laying ceremony at Arlington Cemetery. Jim Sciutto is also watching all of this unfold, and Jim's done a lot of reporting on all these military national security issues. Give us your sense of how significant this is, Jim.
Well, Wolf, we're seeing the military play two essential roles today and for the days to come. One is operational. There are 25,000 National Guardsmen deployed in the Capitol today, 5 times as many as the combined force now deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan, 2 war zones. That is remarkable. And they're here because it is believed they are needed to keep the Capitol safe, to keep the inauguration safe. That's the operational role today, and it's essential. And by the way, it's not going to disappear tomorrow. I've spoken to folks in the Biden administration. They know that domestic terror is going to be a real challenge for them going forward. There's going to be an immediate assessment of the threat by the National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, and discussion of strategies for what to do to address it going forward. But the other role, of course, we're seeing today as we look at these pictures at Arlington is the ceremonial role. And Wolf, that is not a second shrift, right? Because that speaks to, as Brianna was saying, about the role of the military being apolitical. It supports a peaceful transfer of power. We have a new commander-in-chief today, and though many of the trappings of a peaceful transfer of power did not take place from the outgoing president or from the violence we saw on January 6th, the military has stayed consistent. I've been speaking to folks in the Pentagon going back weeks now before the election and after, and they wanted to maintain that lack of partisanship, right? And just one final image, if I can give you this, Wolf. Just moments ago, a military honor guard arrived here at the White House in advance of President Biden, representing all 5 branches of the military: Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard. They are now arrayed around the White House, 6 feet apart. Not an operational role like those National Guardsmen, but a show of force, you might say, but a show of bipartisanship and service. This is the military. It is now the commander-in-chief's, the new commander-in-chief's military and the country's military. And that image, as much as the operational role we're seeing out there by those National Guardsmen, has enormous substance and importance today.
Yeah, he clearly, the new president loves the military. I understand, Jim, you're also getting some Republican reaction to President Biden's inaugural address. So what are you learning?
Well, that's right. I've been reaching out in particular, Wolf, to those Republicans, 139 in the House, as we've discussed many times, who even after the violence on January 6th still voted not to certify the results of the election. I reached out to one of them, Representative Mark Green, who I should mention himself is a veteran. He was a doctor, military doctor. He treated Saddam Hussein in Iraq after his capture. And I asked him what his reaction was to the words of Biden today following his inauguration. His words to me were great words. Let's hope it translates into action. I believe we need to be Americans first, then party. Again, it starts there. Of course, that's something that many Republicans did not do with that vote to decertify, Wolf.
The former presidents are now walking in, President Clinton, President Bush, and President Obama. They will be joining the new president, President Biden. John, this is a symbolically very significant moment.
Very important to the new president's effort to start off with a message of unity. Very important to the new president's effort to start off with a message of respect. Something, frankly, Donald Trump never got about the power of the presidency and the exclusivity of the president's club. Bill Clinton ran against George H.W. Bush. Wolf, we both covered that campaign. It was a very, very tough campaign. They became friends. George W. Bush ran against Al Gore, but very much against the character crises of the Bill Clinton presidency. Barack Obama ran against John McCain, but very much against George W. Bush's Iraq war. There they are. They understand the power of the presidency, the stress of the job, the responsibility of the job, and so they are part of a unique club that Donald Trump will never be welcome in. Donald Trump never picked up the phone as president to call the former presidents, to ask for their advice, to kick around an idea. You can bet that Joe Biden will pick up the phone. Obviously, he'll call his friend Barack Obama. He was his vice president. But you can bet within weeks or months we will hear of a phone call to George W. Bush or Bill Clinton to talk about some big issue on the plate, just to solicit their ideas, because he respects their work. He respects the pressure. He respects the institution. We never had that the past 4 years. We do again today.
Jamie Gangel is getting some reaction. What are you hearing from these 3 former presidents, Jamie?
Well, just to underscore what John King just said, this is the club of formers that Donald Trump is not going to be a part of. Obviously, Jimmy Carter couldn't travel for this, but this is a group that there should be another former president in this picture today if he had lived up to the office, and he did not. The other thing, in addition to what John King said about Joe Biden President Biden, reaching out to speak to these 3, they have, you can be sure, already said to him, if there's anything you need, we're here for you. But they understand that they're respectful, they're not going to speak out, they will keep to the code of trying to be respectful of his time in office.
Yeah, I know for a fact that former President Jimmy Carter, who's 96 years old, God bless him, 96 years old, he would have loved to be participating with these other former presidents, but at his age, that was simply impossible for him to leave Plains, Georgia at this point. But his heart is certainly, I've spent some quality time with him in recent years, his heart is certainly with these other former presidents, as well as the new president of the United States. Doug Brinkley, our presidential historian, is watching all of this together with us. The history books will write about this day, Doug.
Well, there's no question about it. And the fact of the former presidents being with Joe Biden, showing this solidarity at Arlington National Cemetery, You know, we talk about Washington being dysfunctional and America being broken, but nobody thinks our armed forces are broken. They are loved by Republicans, Democrats, independents, and being at Arlington right now is the exact right thing to do. Bill Clinton has been, I speak with him quite a bit, Wolf. He's in Chappaqua, New York, and he's writing a memoir about his post-presidential years, but he's been dying to go, as he put it to me, back home to Arkansas. He's been really, with the exception of John Lewis's funeral, doesn't travel much in the age of COVID because he had some health conditions. And Barack Obama has started a major oral history project at Columbia University, interviewing everybody from his administration and, of course, building the Obama Center in Chicago soon. And George W. Bush stays in Dallas. He's loved there. His presidential library is at Southern Methodist University. And he's been painting to express himself, including a whole new series of paintings about immigrants and immigration in a way that would be in line with how Joe Biden thinks about immigration. So it's really marvelous to have them all there.
It certainly is. Tim Naftalia, our other presidential historian, is watching all of this unfold. Give us your thoughts, Tim.
100 years ago, on Inauguration Day, Congress decided that an unidentified soldier who died in World War I would be buried at that spot. And for 100 years, that has been a sacred spot. I cannot imagine a more poignant place for our former presidents to gather to deliver a message, a visual message of unity at a time of anxiety, pain, and suffering in our country. I also think that when the history of the last 4 years is written, the story of our military and how it generally lived up to the highest principles of its tradition, despite the pressure to be corrupted, will be a powerful story. And so I think it's also appropriate that this laying on of hands of the former presidents with President Biden is occurring at a nationally sacred spot that is also at the beating heart of our military.
This is such a powerful, powerful moment. Kate Anderson-Brower is with us as well, watching all of this unfold. You've done extensive reporting on the transition, and this transition today to this new administration, a new president, a new vice president is so significant, and we see them beginning the memorial here at the Tomb of the Unknown.
Yeah, it's really an incredible moment, and it's wonderful to see the former presidents. We know that the Obamas and the Bushes have a friendship, sort of an unlikely friendship. There are those wonderful shots of Michelle Obama with Bush at the McCain funeral. And then we also know, just going back, George W. Bush and Clinton were sent to Haiti. Obama dispatched them to Haiti. We know that they've worked together, the famous relationship between George H.W. Bush, of course, and Bill Clinton. And I think seeing them all together is special.
And there we see President Biden walking in. He will be right at the center of this. Let's listen in.
Attention! Please come back to the spot.
Another solemn moment in an inaugural that has been full of them so far. This, the wreath laying at the tomb of the unknown soldier at Arlington Cemetery. I cannot imagine that President Biden was not thinking of his favorite soldier, Beau Biden, his son who died of cancer, who was a major in the Army Reserves, and for whom he mourns greatly. A couple other things stood out to me. One, we've never seen a woman vice president before, and there you had the president, Joe Biden, and the vice president, Kamala Harris, standing, looking at the tomb of the unknown soldier, and it was striking. It's a visual we've never had in the United States, although they have had leaders in other countries, not here. And then also the striking absence of two remaining former presidents who are alive. Jimmy Carter, who is old and infirm, not healthy enough to travel, especially during a time of COVID. But the immediate former president, Donald Trump, who is not there because he apparently is not strong enough emotionally to be there. So quite striking visuals at the tomb of the unknown soldier.
you.